History remembers conquerors, settlers, and those who fought heavy battles. But only a few tales are as raw, brutal, and haunting as those of the Native American tribes. These are history's most terrifying native tribes that you never knew about, and the people who survived them referred to them as nightmares in human form. Before we begin this dark journey into forgotten history, don't forget to subscribe for more chilling and factual historical events. The Comanche, also known as the Lords of the Plains. Just hearing their name once made settlers, soldiers, and rival tribes shiver and quiver in fear. Their name comes from the Ute word, Kimantsi, or enemy. The Comanche were the undisputed masters of horse and wind.
The Comanche, spoken of in whispers, cursed in prayers, and dreaded across the frontier. To settlers, they were demons on horseback. To rival tribes, an unstoppable storm. Their very name, derived from the Ute word Kimantsi, meant simply enemy. Before horses entered North America, the Comanche were part of the Shoshone-speaking peoples, wandering the Great Basin. They survived like many others, hunting, gathering, moving with the seasons. Nothing set them apart. No prophecy foretold what they would become. Then the horse arrived, and history fractured. The Comanche didn't adopt horses, they mastered them with terrifying perfection. While other tribes learned to ride, the Comanche redefined what riding meant. They bred faster, stronger horses, stole thousands more through daring raids, and trained from infancy. Comanche children were placed on horseback almost as soon as they could sit upright. Falling was not an option. Survival demanded skill. By adolescence, they could shoot arrows with deadly accuracy while hanging beneath a galloping stallion, using the animal's body as a living shield. They could switch mounts mid-raid, ride for days without rest, and communicate silently across miles of open plain. An English observer once wrote, "On foot, they were awkward. On horseback, grace itself." This grace, however, brought terror. A war without warning. Comanche warfare was unlike anything Europeans had faced. There were no formal declarations, no lines of battle, no mercy for the unprepared. They struck fast, often at dawn or in the dead of night, riding in screaming waves that shattered settlements in minutes. Entire villages vanished before help could arrive. They took captives, not merely as prisoners, but as commodities and replacements. Children were adopted and raised as Comanche, sometimes forgetting their original language entirely. Women were forced into harsh lives of survival. To frontier settlers, capture was a fate worse than death. Their empire, Comancheria, spread across what is now Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and New Mexico. It was not marked by borders or flags, but by fear. Spanish caravans avoided it. Mexican ranches paid tribute to survive. American settlers learned too late that treaties meant nothing to warriors who answered only to strength. The empire of the buffalo. The Comanche didn't just dominate people, they controlled resources. At the heart of their power stood the buffalo. Millions roamed the plains, and the Comanche turned the hunt into an industrial machine. Buffalo meat fed their people, hides were traded, bones became tools. Nothing was wasted. They dictated trade routes, manipulated markets, and enforced dominance with violence. Rival tribes were crushed or absorbed. Some were enslaved, others fled. The Comanche economy, powered by horses and buffalo, made them one of the wealthiest indigenous societies in North America. For nearly a century, they were untouchable. Empires that failed, the Spanish tried to stop them. They failed. Mexican armies marched north. They failed. Even after the United States claimed the territory, the Comanche continued to raid deep into American settlements, humiliating cavalry units trained in European-style warfare. Slow, rigid, and predictable. The plains belong to the Comanche, but power built on motion is vulnerable to stillness. The slow collapse. The fall of the Comanche did not come in a single battle. It came through disease, starvation, and strategy. Smallpox and cholera cut through their population. American forces adapted, learning to pursue relentlessly rather than retreat. Most devastating of all, the systematic slaughter of the buffalo. As the herds disappeared, so did the Comanche way of life. By the 1870s, hunger stalked the plains. Horses weakened, raids slowed. The final resistance collapsed under constant military pressure, forced treaties, and imprisonment on reservations. The lords of the plains were confined to land that could not sustain them. A legacy of fear and respect. Yet even in defeat, their legend endured. Frontier diaries still speak of panic at the sound of hooves. Military records describe battles fought against enemies who seem more wind than flesh. Historians now agree. No indigenous force shaped the American frontier more than the Comanche. They were not merely warriors. They were an empire without walls, a nation that rode faster than history itself. And the Comanche were only one of many. In the shadows of forgotten forests, deserts, and mountains, other tribes rose, just as brutal, just as feared, and just as deadly. Their stories are next.